everyone. And welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with the amazing comedian Caitlin Peluffo. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Natalie?
I'm good.
This is exciting. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I love a swivel chair.
I know.
Ooh.
Honestly, I usually feel so nervous while I'm like talking to someone in this room that I'm like locked in one position in the swivel chair.
Yeah.
Now take a breath. Swivel around.
Swivel around. Feel the room. This is like a cloud of a chair.
It is.
It's nice.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I love your stand-up so much.
Natalie.
You're so talented.
Thank you so. Oh my God. Tell me more. I need it.
Oh my God. You're amazing. Tell me okay, so how your set, a lot of it is about like your relationship and the way that you feel about your partner, and it's so funny. How did you frame that? How did you start to build that?
Well, I started doing comedy a while ago, 9 years, I guess. And so the only thing that ever interested me, talking about, because I have don't take this the wrong way, my sweet Steve, my boyfriend, but I have terrible taste in men. I tend to be like, oh, I see you. You're mine. Let's be together forever. Yep. And then I fall in love really easily. And then I fall out of love instantly. Wow. Yeah. So don't let that worry you either, Steve. But it's just, I get very passionate, all encompassing. And that is why I go to therapy. Thank you so much. And so that's why things are going great with Steve. But it's, I think it's also hilarious. That's the funniest part. Everybody has a relationship. No one wants to be alone. And everybody in trying to find the one has messed up and just made some really awful choices. So that's where I come from in terms of my stand-up. I find it fascinating.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also am very fiery. I just fall very quickly for people.
Right.
I definitely I try to take my time getting to know people, but then sometimes you just fall head over heels.
Pheromones are a thing I learned about after that. You can smell someone and not even realize it, but you're like, oh, this person is my forever. And it's just because of what hormones they're putting out into the world.
One of my favorite jokes that you have, and I was like, oh my God, you're the only person that talks about this. And it's so funny about how you hit a certain age where you feel turned on by the prospect of having kids, but you don't actually want that.
Yes.
I'm not going to butcher your joke, but it is so funny. And no one really talks about how you get into that stage of why am I saying I want to have your kid in the bedroom? Why is that coming out of my mouth now?
Yeah, exactly. Make me a mom. Let's go. No man wants to hear that. But I feel when we hit our 30s or even late 20s, early 30s, it's just something changes and our body is just we only got a certain amount of eggs left, so get rid of them. Fill me up, and it's a nightmare because my whole time I've done comedy, I've been I don't want kids. This is fulfilling. I want to just be a comedian and maybe get married, know? And now I'm I need 7 kids by this one guy because he smells nice. I'm a whole different person. And I'm maybe I'm going to freeze my eggs so that I can actually take a tick.
Are you going to freeze them?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Freeze them up. Freeze them out of me. Let's go.
Oh, my God. I'm scared to do that.
Why?
Because of the hormones. Am I going to?
You go crazy for 20 days.
All right.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And if everybody around you knows what's going on,
then they'll be very delicate with you.
Yeah, they'll be I'll eat you. And you're okay, she's pumped full of drugs. It's okay. But I'm more worried about it because I'm broke. Yeah. And so I finally got my credit score up. Caitlin's an adult. Let's talk about being a grown up. But I got my credit score up so that I could do the payment plan for this egg freezing situation. And but in order to keep it to a reasonable amount, you can do the process without anesthesia. And so I'm here we go. I'm not putting myself under to save $1,000. So
oh my God.
I'm more worried about a huge needle going into my ovaries.
So how painful is it going to be without anesthesia? That's so fucked up that they give you that option. That shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Poor people. We just endure more. I know. Should I start a GoFundMe so that I can be put under?
Yes. Put Caitlin under.
Oh my God. It's only like $1,000. But I'm like, well, let's just pinch and save.
Have you started yet?
No, I got tested.
Okay.
They made sure that I was, they had to make sure that I was giving off a certain amount of, you know what? I don't even know. But a guy went up my hoo-ha with a stick and was like, you look great. So let's do this. Yeah, I also have a cyst. Isn't that fun?
Me too.
I have a cyst. Even my uterus is like, let's do this with a backpack on, you know? So I know she's too much. But so I got all checked out, and it's actually the same doctor who's done like a bunch of other comics. So there's a doctor out there who has seen the inside of like every funny woman in New York.
Is it a male doctor?
It's a male doctor.
I hate this. I hate this.
Honestly, I was like, can I use your sperm? He was very attractive. It's like a little silver fox, very calm, non-judgy, just so nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's like kind of like the go-to gyno for comics?
I think so, yeah.
Because I know that there's like a comedian therapist, which frightens me way more.
I know.
I'm like, I definitely don't want, or do you see the therapist?
No.
I've always like, I grew up going into therapy, and I always knew that like rule that's kind of unspoken. You don't go to someone who has a client that is someone that you know.
Right? Yeah.
And so it's crazy for a whole community of people to see this one guy. I don't want to tell him my secrets. What if he accidentally slips it out to a coworker?
I know. And then also like I would just sit there and be like, he's comparing my career to the next guy's career. I want to get good only to be his most famous
favorite
client. Yeah.
I know. And I feel like he's like going to be judging like comedy and think he knows about it. It's going to bother me.
I know he's going to crack jokes, and I'll be like, get at it. I'm not at work. You're at work.
Exactly.
Keep it professional. But yeah, so I'm going to freeze my eggs, and we're going to have kids hopefully in 5 years.
Oh my God. I like that.
Great. Yeah.
So you are also engaged to a comedian.
I am. Yeah. Sweet Steve. I think he was on your podcast.
He was on my podcast. Yeah. He was great. We talked about anxiety.
Oh boy, could he talk about it.
What is that like? So you guys travel separately. How did you make the decision to how much you want to work together on the road?
Well, the tricky thing is back when before the pandemic, we each just had one late night credit.
Okay.
And so we would pitch ourselves to clubs because as co-headliners, because we didn't quite have enough of a following to sustain a full weekend. And so we would get booked that way, and it was really fun. But now we've kind of created our own fan bases, and he works completely clean. And so he gets a lot of people who like clean comedy, and then I am disgusting. I am out here talking about jizz raccoons. Like, I'm disgusting. So it's always like, now it's a little bit of whiplash. So neither of us kill. Like, he'll do well with his groups that come to the show beforehand, and then I'll do well with mine. But then the people who came for clean comedy are just like, this is a lot. So now we'll do it if someone needs an opener and it's in a cool city.
Okay.
Like, we'll open for each other. But it is harder for me to open for him because he needs a certain amount of clean, and I am not that clean. So, but he's opened for me before. And then we've co-headlined like Valentine's Day. We'd get a lot of it's Valentine's Day, time for a little couple love. So we'll get booked that way. But yeah, we don't, now we can't really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bummer, but we see each other like 4 days a week.
Yeah. You guys are both like touring comedians. Is it hard spending time apart, or?
I mean, for me, no.
But that boy misses you.
I know. I know. I feel terrible. But he's also known this about me. I'm older than him. I'm 5 years older than him.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s. I like my alone time. I like being able to sit and watch my HGTV shows or my trashy television. And so I get that on the road during the day.
Yeah.
I get my alone time, and then I miss him, and I come home, and then we have a wonderful 4-day period together, and then we go off again. So it's nice for me. It's ideal. I've done the whole like I want to be with you every second of every day, and that always crashes and burns. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And so this is like the healthiest relationship I've ever been in.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he's more of I'd just like to see you every day, but we text every day. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have like a date for the wedding?
No.
No.
Do you?
I have like a general. I have an idea of a date.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't like booked anything.
No,
but the idea would be July 2024.
Oh, see, I would like
Yeah.
October 2024.
Oh, really?
September, October 2024.
Like a little fall vibe.
I love fall.
I don't know why the woman is supposed to do all of the work planning a wedding, and it's like,
yeah.
Why? Why am I supposed to do all of this?
I know. It's exhausting. And I'm not a girl who's ever dreamed of her wedding.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start. And so they say, start with a venue. And so Steve and I went and saw a bunch of venues, and they were all like $30,000. And we were like, well, I guess we just won't get married.
We'll just wait a little while.
Yeah, let's freeze the eggs instead and then hope for the best. But it's just crazy. It's too much.
Right.
It's all too much. But
I love picturing someone coming to see Steve and having a really clean sense of humor, and then seeing you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I know I'm just backtracking in conversation.
No, that's fine.
But I didn't even really think about that in terms of like, you know, you do create your own. Sometimes it could be like a conflicting fan base.
Oh, 100%. And like we both say that our goal is one day to go on the road together and people know that we're together and like both of our sensibilities. You know? And so they're more intrigued by us as a couple. Yeah. And so they come out. But we ain't there yet. So it's it's a little jarring. Like I'll go up and I'll do a set and someone will just be like this. And I'm like, you saw Steve when he was opening for Brian Regan, didn't you? And they're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you weren't prepared for this.
Do you feel...
I know.
Do you feel like you focus in on like that one face in the audience? Like I feel like everyone can be enjoying themselves and I'll see like one person like, and I can't help but pick on them. Like I can't help it. It sucks. It's not even just in my head. I have to interrupt like the whole set and be like, so why aren't you having fun?
Yeah. What is it about me that you don't like?
Do I remind you of your mother? I don't get it.
Yeah. I will call my mom and she will talk to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It drives me crazy. The other night there was like a woman just in the front like this. And I was just like, why are you here? Who hurt you? Who kicked your dog? Okay. I'm the last comic. This is literally it.
If you're not smiling by the last comic, then like you didn't want to smile.
I can't help you.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently there's a couple who comes to the cellar and they sit in the front on purpose and they mean mug comics just to mess with them. Yeah. And so now they've been flagged. And so they won't sit. They can still come to the shows, but they can't sit in front.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
How did everyone find out that was their intention?
Because comics started recognizing them because they made
why do you come back and do that?
I know. I think they get off on it. I think it's like a power trip to them and they like the attention.
That is so wild.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's like a power trip. They're like, we're going to throw off these comics who think they're funny. It's the Cellar. We're funny, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's you.
The Cellar, would you say that's the main club you perform in?
Yeah. The Cellar in New York and Gotham. Those are the three that I work. But the Cellar, I'm there pretty much every week.
You've been there for a long time, right? Or
God bless you. I've been there for like a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
I think of you as like, you're there.
Oh, thanks. Please God. No, I'm there. I'm very lucky, knock on wood. I'm there a good amount and I love it. It's so fun, but you do get spoiled because every once in a while I'll do like a bar show and I'll have like 5 people and then I'll be like, what the? And then I have to be like, nope. This is where you get good.
The normal.
This is what it is. Not the Cellar. You're getting pampered. This is what comedy is.
Yeah.
Make a room full of 5 drunk strangers
like,
who don't speak English. Laugh. Go. Yeah.
That is absolutely. That's very true.
Yeah. Where do you get up? You get up at the stand,
the
right?
Stand mostly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I feel like I love that club. They're awesome. But Dan works the Cellar too, so I go there with him, and it's also a great, an amazing room. Yeah. How do you feel? So you're so accomplished. Like you've done Colbert, Corden, JFL.
Oh my God, this is
like,
what a podcast,
Caitlin.
I want to stay.
Do you feel like there was a point where you're like, okay, because every comic, like I've never had a late night set, right? In my head, obviously, I'm like, I just need to get a late night set, right? There's always that thing, and then you accomplish it, and then you want another thing. Like, what's been your experience with that as someone that's kind of checked a lot of these boxes?
Yeah, that never goes away, that feeling. I need one more thing and then it'll be good. And then you do the thing and then you're like, well, I need one more because nothing really changed, you know?
Yeah.
Right now for me, it's followers. I need followers. And then I'm sure once I get followers, I'll be like, well, I need this now. You know, it just.
Totally.
It's that needle always moves for every comic. But I do remember doing Colbert, putting my whole heart and soul into it for like 2 months straight, just really obsessing over it. We're doing it, I think before I did about 300 sets of running it within like 2 to 3 months before recording. And I remember I recorded it. And then for the next 4 days, it was the most depressed I've ever been in my life.
Why?
Just the saddest. Because it was like you did it. You reached the mountaintop and there's nowhere to go when you're at the top except down. And you're not prepared for it. You don't realize that that's what's going to happen. And so I went down hard. And I felt terrible because my parents came out to visit. They watched. My dad came with me out like backstage. And then for the next 3 days, they were still visiting me. And I was just a piece of shit. I was so like and I didn't know what was happening. And I was like, I should be the happiest I've ever been. I did it. And there was no relief. It was just all the dopamine was gone. And it was tragic. I was so sad. And then for like the next 2 months before it came out, I was just up and down, up and down. It's awful.
What made you like work? Like, how did you work through that?
I talked to someone, I forget who, someone who did a late night, who had done a bunch of late nights. I forget who it was, but they were like, oh yeah, you'll do it. And then nothing will change. And then you will feel terrible. And then you'll just move on. That's just the way it goes. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm in the middle of that. They're like, yeah, it sucks. It's going to be okay. I forget who it was. Who was I talking to? God, it might have been Nathan McIntosh. I can't remember. That sounds like something Nathan McIntosh was saying. Then you just fucking get over it, you know?
So how did that change then you did Corden. Did you have like a different approach knowing that was your experience the last time, or how did you go into it?
Oh, yeah. That one I only had 4 days to prepare.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That one they called me. I had a set approved for a while and then I just forgot about it. And then they called me, what are you doing on Friday? Or something like that. And I was like, I guess I'm flying to LA. That's what I'm doing. And so I had less time to prepare. It went well. And then I was in LA. And so I took that night off and we just kind of, we didn't go crazy, but we had fun, you know. And then it aired the next day when I was back in New York. And then it was nice seeing it air so quickly. Because with Colbert, you have to wait until they need you. And then they air it. And so that one, having it air right away, it was like a sense of completion. There was no longing and waiting. But then I did get sad, but I was able to tell myself, this is what it is. You're going to be fine. Life will go on. And you're going to move on to the next thing. And so I was able to like talk myself through it, but it was still there. I was still sad.
Do you feel like running the set 300 times was like, did you feel like it made you go on autopilot, or were you like, I just feel super secure and I trust these jokes now?
Yeah. The second one.
Really?
I always tell people, cause my friend, Orion Levine, he just did, his first Corden. And he was like, any advice? And I was like, run it as often and as much as you can. Run it in your shower, run it as fast as you can, run it as slow as you can. Run it because you're going to be 10 times more nervous than you think you're going to be, you know, because you'll run it in front of a crowd and be like, I got this. And then you get there and you're shaking. The lights and cameras are everywhere. You're meeting famous people. It's just the sense of urgency and excitement is at a 20.
Right.
And so you want to feel muscle memory can kick in. Because one time I had a panic attack when I was auditioning for Gotham and The Cellar. Both auditions, I had a panic attack. I got lockjaw. And I had to go into autopilot and muscle memory kicked in. And for Gotham, I just did my Colbert set because I had known it so well. And I got past. Everything's fine. But it was like, oh, even when my brain wasn't with me, my mouth was able to do it. And so that's what happened with Corden. I got nervous. I started getting red. I get red up on my cheeks. I know, it's so embarrassing. So that's why I wore my hair down. I was like, you can't see it, but I'm turning red. And but I was able to go into autopilot. I knew my jokes, and then I was able to ad lib and know exactly where I was. And So it's just like you want to feel like I know my set. I'm not going to forget anything. I know my set.
Right.
Yeah. So do that. In the shower alone, just be like, my name is Caitlin Peluffo, blah, 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 blah. Just like you just say your jokes as fast as you can to yourself.
That's when living with a comedian is good. They hear you and they're like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They're just doing their thing.
Exactly. I live in a building with 4 comedians: Sarah Tolomash, Joe List, Ronan Hirschberg,
Oh my God.
and then Steven Rogers. And so all of us live in the
you
same
guys
building.
all live in the same
Yeah.
building?
We do.
Is that intentional?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you're all friends.
we're all friends. Joe List lived there first with Sarah, and then an apartment opened up and asked if me and Steve wanted it. We moved there, and then another one opened up upstairs, and so they were like, Ronan, and he was like, okay. And so,
oh my God.
yeah, we all live there, and so we'll hear Ronan running his set in the bathroom. I'll hear Joe doing a podcast. I'll hear Lady Journey going on downstairs. We all hear each other, and we're like, oh, good, they're getting it in. I know they're going on vacation, so I hope they're doing a double episode or something, Like, no one judges anyone. It's pretty nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So you're just like fully immersed in you're living in like a comedy dorm.
It's like a commune. Yeah, it is. It's really, really fun. On Sundays, like, we'll all come back from the road and we'll get like dinner.
Oh my God, this is
nice.
so cute.
Isn't it cute? It's so cute.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's too cute.
I know. We're adorable. But it's fun. And then also when we're on the road, like, and they're not, they'll watch our cats, which is very nice.
That is very, very valuable.
Yeah, Sarah Tolomash is a saint because like she wants animals, but Joe doesn't want animals. So she's like, I'll watch them. And so she'll come over and play with our cats. And oh God, I love it. Sarah, I love you. Wherever you are, I love you.
Sarah's great. Sarah did this podcast and she gave, I love the advice she gave me was go where the love is. And I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like if there's a club that like you want to be at, but you're at a club that's already giving you love, like appreciate that and keep going with that relationship.
Yeah, that is good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why force yourself to be something that is doesn't fit?
Exactly.
Square peg, round hole, that whole thing. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're so energetic on stage?
What?
Like
I feel like I've been crazy this entire podcast.
Really?
I've been insane. Like just talking blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I am energetic.
No, you've been great. You're fantastic. And
right.
Okay, so do you feel like that's you off stage as well?
Yeah.
Or it is?
Yeah, I'm always just kind of like my hair's wet. I'm always just a little bit like in the middle of a spiral. Just, yeah. And then, but I also can be shy.
Yeah.
Like if other people are really energetic, I'm not the type of person who's going to try and fight for attention.
Right.
I'm like, oh, no, let them have their moment, like, and I just like to enjoy, but generally I tend on the rapid fire, quick paced. Let's just see what, I got to fill the emptiness,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm glad because sometimes people are like, this is a lot, but they say that you are, who you are on stage is 10 times who you are off stage.
Huh.
So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm a little bit extra on stage, but off stage, I'm still not nothing.
What point in comedy do you feel like you found like your voice? Like how many years were you doing it where you're like, this is who I am. This is what I want to say.
I don't know. I don't think I have it yet.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Like I definitely have a point of view, but I feel like when you find your voice, then you, writing is a lot easier or a little bit more succinct.
Yeah.
And I'm about to record an album and I'm about to put down, it took me 9 years to come up with this hour of material and it's all going to go away. And I am terrified of writing a new hour because I'm like, do I have a voice? Oh my God. What do I want to talk about? The jokes just kind of, I can't remember how I wrote them. They just kind of appeared.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very intimidated about that. And so I don't know. This is too vulnerable, but I do not know if I have my voice yet.
No, I totally, I think a lot of people probably feel like that. I mean, I know I feel like that, especially when you like my creative juices feel like they're flowing when I'm on stage or when I'm like falling asleep at night or just Yeah.
Isn't
just
that
like
the worst one?
that
You're
you have
falling
to write it
asleep.
down. Yeah.
And then you look at it in the morning. You're like, what was I even thinking about?
Yeah.
That this is anyway. But yes, I agree. It's always, I think what I'm going to do is go for long walks and put in headphones of just ambient music.
Okay.
And just walk for like an hour a day, because that's whenever I'm thinking about something else and just walking, that's when I'm like, oh, this is funny and this is funny. And then I think of things naturally. So I was like, I used to do that with running, but I have bad knees, so I'm not going to run anymore. So I think I'm going to try that after the album, just different ways in order to get the juices flowing. Steve, it's also, that's the sucky part about being with a comedian, right? Is like they have such a strict work ethic, or at least Steve does. He wakes up every morning, 8:30 a.m. He meditates. He writes for an hour. He feeds the cats, and then he writes some more. And I'm like,
really? He's that regimented?
yeah. And then I get up at 11, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch Murder, She Wrote. You know, like I'm just. And then I also am like, oh, I write on stage, so, and it's like, no, you gotta fucking write, you know. So, yeah. So let's get. That's how I found my voice, or I don't know, lack thereof.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fine.
Definitely.
Joe List told me, he was like, it will. Every time he records an hour, he's like, how am I gonna do it? And he's like, I always do. It always just comes, because it's what we do as a comedian. We're writing constantly. So don't worry about it. It will happen.
I like that.
Yes. Sweet man.
Where are you
Good
recording
man.
it?
San Francisco Punchline.
Oh, cool. And you're from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That is
So.
an awesome. That's one of those stages that I saw in videos. So I was like, what's that stage? It's so awesome. And someone was like, the San Francisco Punchline.
It's a crazy background.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to wear, but but I am excited.
When is it? When are you taping it?
June 7th, 8th, and 9th. I should really know this.
Are you doing 3 shows?
Well, they do a Wednesday through Saturday.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's 6 shows. They're going to record all of them audioly, and we're just going to film one, and or film one night.
Okay.
And which I'm fine with.
That makes sense because you're not going to wear the same thing for 6 shows. I guess.
No way. And I'm also not going to release it as a special. I'm going to release them as clips.
Oh, cool.
And then release the album as its own album. Yeah, I gotta. Apparently, that's the best way to get YouTube subscribers, is to chop things up into 8 to 10 minute segments and put it.
Okay.
Who knows? I mean, do you know about the algorithm? I don't know about the algorithm.
I feel like I'm pretty good with social media.
Really?
Until it comes to YouTube, I'm like,
oh yes.
I don't understand. I had like a period of my YouTube going up, but it was just hateful comments. Like I knew it was like my most viewed stuff are things I won't look at the comments because they're so crazy. But it does help you. Like it does help the algorithm when people are engaging that way, even if they're just like shitting on you because you're a woman. So
Oh yeah, I didn't know that the YouTube Shorts you could look at the comments. I didn't know there were comments.
Yeah.
And then I found out, and I looked, and I was like, "This is hilarious!" Just all of them are like, "What is this pig?" and blah blah. I'm like, "Ah!"
I know.
I thought I was doing great. And
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh no!" But then you have to realize that there are also people who are thumbs upping it, and you're like, "That's who I'm making it for. I'm not making it for this 12-year-old with a YouTube account with a motorcycle as his profile picture, because those are cool." You know?
I know. I feel like I see 8-year-olds on TikTok and like in real life, and I'm like, oh my god, those are the ones leaving the bad comments that make me not sleep. Like,
it's so funny because it's like, who are you? You have no subscribers.
I know.
You're just this person who's putting out video games, and it's like, you're not better than me.
I know. It is just so. Do you feel like Steve doesn't deal with it as much because he's a guy, or do you guys both deal with the same level of shittiness online?
I love my partner so much. He gets hate every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, but he also doesn't get as many views. I will say that.
Yeah.
I think women get more views just because, especially if you're pretty. I find that when I do makeup and do my hair, my views will go up so much. And then if I'm just like wearing my glasses and looking like a cow, people are like, we're not going to stay and watch this. And I was like, but it's a good joke. And they're like, we don't care. And so now I'm wearing tinted moisturizer, so I'm helping your algorithm.
I just bought tinted moisturizer too.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
Oh God, it's just
It's
look at
new.
it. She's glowing.
Wow, both of us.
A little orange. I'm a little orange, but that's okay. So, a little Oompa Loompa, but we're getting there. But he gets like every once in a while, will be like, he'll get something that's like not funny or something like that. And then I will get one like, you're so ugly, your mother should die. Like, and it's like, oh my God.
I know. I like got this comment yesterday that was like, it's so sad to see people telling you that you're doing good because you're not. And like stuff like those weird, like gaslighty comments that you're like, oh my God.
The one I always get is women only talk about sex. It's women are so crass, can't find a good female comic anywhere. And I just want to be like, I have 2 late nights where I have to be clean. Go look for those. How about those? But it's always, you see what you want to see. So they're putting out into the universe that women only do it because that's what their algorithm says about them.
Right.
So it's like, this isn't about me. That's something I've learned with the comments. First off, don't read them. I read them for about a half hour just to get the algorithm going, and I'll respond to the nice ones. And then I don't read them anymore. And then but when they comment something negative, that says more about them than it does about me. It's like, I'm just trying to make you happy, and and not even them, just anybody happy. And they're literally like, this is trash. And it's like, well, what does it say about you that you feel the need to tell me that I'm trash?
Right.
It's like, you're broken. You're the one that's hurting, not me.
Exactly. Like you are having this relationship with yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good thing to remember.
You need to get that off your chest. You need to go to therapy, and that's what it is.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
I was thinking about this. My mom told me some great advice. And I think about it all the time. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. 'Cause I would always feel, I get intimidated a lot. Like, oh, these people, like, especially I used to play sports. I played soccer. I went to college for soccer. And I got soccer listed.
What is that?
That means, so you know the turmoil with the rich parents getting their kids into school.
Yeah.
That whole thing, or controversy. And what they would do is, if kids had the grades that they needed, a lot of coaches would say, hey, we want to recruit this player to come play for us. They might not get in academically, but they do meet all the requirements of the college. So we're putting them on a list so that they can walk on to our soccer team, basically. And so that's how I got in. But the rich kids were doing it where they'd never played soccer in their lives, but they were still paying to get their kid put on this list in order to get into college. Yeah.
Ugh.
So they were taking advantage of the thing that actually I needed. So, but my grades weren't bad. I had like a 3.7.
That's good.
Yeah. But I went to a college where it was like a 4.2.
Where'd you go to college?
UC San Diego.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Very academically, very good.
Okay.
Academically. And so I was like, well, I shouldn't be in because I'm not going to do well because I only played sports, and that's why I got in. Everybody's going to be smarter than me and blah. And so I was already like counting myself out before. And she was like, it doesn't matter. You're in there. You met the requirements. You're in there. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And then I think I graduated with honors and went on to grad school, and I definitely graduated grad school with honors. So it's like, okay, so you got in this way, but you look at how you finished. And so I try and take that in with me every time I feel like a little intimidated or it's like, oh, I don't belong here. It's like, no, it's not about how you start. Let's see where it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every time you feel like you don't belong here, you're like, well, I am here, so I got to make the best of this.
Exactly. Or it doesn't matter how you got here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't start early enough in comedy.
Right.
I started at 26 instead of, 22.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. But now look at you. It's about how you're finishing and changing the goal in order to keep.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I used that one a lot from my mom, and that one helped me tons.
That's awesome.
Because I was just, my confidence level was in the dirt. And it's like, no. You're building. We're all just building. We're trying to get somewhere. Does that make sense? I feel like I didn't explain myself
No, I
very
totally
well.
know what you mean.
Okay.
I've struggled with confidence my whole life, but I think people, before they know me, they think that I'm way more confident than I am. What are ways that you've worked on building your confidence?
Oh, God damn. I lost 20 pounds. That'll help it.
Whoa, that's awesome.
But not to get skinny. I just started taking care of my body. I stopped drinking was the big thing. Yes, drinking will mess up your confidence because your body feels like crap, and so your mind will follow. That's also some more advice that my mother gave me.
I like that.
If your body feels good, you will it will raise you up. But yeah, that helps with my confidence a lot. Eating well, and then also just choosing not to dwell on the negative. Like if I mess up or something or have a bad set, it's just like, well, we've had a lot of sets and the evidence shows that you're good at this. You know, the evidence shows that a lot of times you do very well on stage, and this just every once in a while you take an L and it's okay. Also my second late night helped a lot, more than I'd like to admit, because I got my first late night and then you'll talk yourself out of anything. You're like, well, that was a fluke. I shouldn't have gotten it. I only had 5 minutes of good material. It was because I was a woman. It was, they needed women. And so now I'm here, just taking it away from yourself.
Right.
And then when I did the second one and it was good, I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can tell a joke. I can write a joke. Those are different jokes than the last set. We're a comic. You're a comic. It's fine, and then getting in at the cellar and then being able to not compete, but perform next to greats.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, all right, everything's going to be fine. But the first 3 months I was like, I'm a piece of shit. I have to follow Godfrey. Kill me. You know what I mean? I just want to walk into the ocean. He is rapping and doing impressions while rapping and then beatboxing. Who am I? I can't do anything, but that also, and then therapy. Therapy helps so much because you're literally telling her and then she's repeating it back to you and you're like, wow, that's not very nice. It's like, you can't say that. Only I can say it. And she's like, well, no one should be saying it. And so getting your insecurities voiced back at you and dissecting them, and that has helped so much. So Ashley, my little therapist, thank you. Wherever you are.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's always like this imposter syndrome of feeling like you don't deserve to be where you are.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I like hearing you say, like, evidence shows, like, you're doing well. Like, this is paying your rent.
Yes.
And it just adds another level of confidence when you have something to, like, grab onto like that. So I just like the phrase evidence shows. Like, I feel like I'm going to be thinking that in my life now.
My therapist would say, put your thoughts on trial. Put it on trial. Oh, you think you suck at comedy because the middle of your set didn't go well? Okay. Well, what about the joke before and the joke after? What about your last set? What about this? What were the circumstances? It's just like, you're literally just, okay. You're just, and then you see that it's outweighed. Like your thoughts you're just highlighting the negative instead of looking at the actual evidence.
When you're dating or like being engaged to a comedian, do you feel like there's like a level of competitiveness, or because you're just so different, you're like, you do you, I do me? Like there's a point where you both had a late night set and then like one person gets something. Is that something that's hard to navigate, or you guys just kind of deal with it?
We kind of deal with it. He keeps me competitive with him in his work ethic. I want to work as hard as he does. I want to put in the effort, put in the time that he does to stand up. I realize that it's different. We have different processes. And so that's important to understand. Like he can sit down and write a joke and I cannot do that, as evidence of my set. My set is all over the place, And so you kind of have to go where go what's natural to you. Right. And moving and thinking is what I need to do. But that is where the competitiveness, I'm sure he has I work a lot in the city, and he's newer to the city. So we've talked about how he's not jealous, but he's like envious that every night I'm out and out and out. And that's what makes him work hard.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of pushing each other to get better, but it's never out of jealousy. It's out of like just and like I envy the way he works, and he envies the way I work. And so it's like we're just trying to build each other into better comics.
I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to surround yourself with people that are at your level so that you can just like improve with them and learn from them. And you need to feel inspired by your partner. You need to feel like, holy shit, how are they doing that? I want to be doing that. Like
exactly.
All the relationships I've been in that haven't worked out are because I wasn't inspired by that person, or they didn't see that spark in me or something like that.
Yeah. It's also hard to be with someone with no ambition.
Yeah.
I've been with some people who are like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll just do this for now. And it's like, that's no fun.
Right.
It's no like, you don't realize that it rubs off on you.
It does.
Yeah. Complacency is, what's it called? Contagious.
Yeah.
And so you want to be with someone who has goals, who wants to succeed, who loves something, has a passion.
Yeah.
Nothing sexier than a passion.
Passion is sexy.
It's so sexy.
Honestly, when I listen to your set, I feel like I also like smells. Like I literally, that's how I figure out if I like someone. Like if I smell them and I'm like, yeah, that's good. Or if you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's literally just shows you if you like them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One time I was dating someone and I thought that this was going to be a compliment, but like they didn't take it that way. Their breath was bad. And like we were like making out, and I was like, oh, I kind of like how bad their breath is because I love them. And then I was like, I love you so much that like I like your bad breath. And he was like, oh my God, my breath is bad. He like stopped the whole thing, went to the bathrooms, like gurgling mouthwash. She's like, don't come near me. And I'm like, oh.
Honestly, good for you. These people need to know when their breath is bad. Okay?
I was like, I like it.
I know.
was telling you that I liked it.
It's a compliment, but it's also like let's all be aware.
I totally like didn't think it that way.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But when you're just like, oh, I'm like seeing your like little vulnerability. Like it's so cute that you're stinky.
Yeah.
Like
you're a smelly person.
Yeah.
You're a little disgusting. Yeah, it's funny. And then you get to the end of the relationship and you're like, your breath stinks. This is no longer cute.
You're like, remember that time you went to the bathroom? Go back there.
Yeah, go back. Just give me some alone time. That's how you know you're at the beginning of the end. It's like, it's not cute anymore.
Right. Those things that you like love. Like when you get annoyed with someone's chewing or like the sound someone makes, you know that it's like, this is not about that.
Yeah.
This is something bigger.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I know exactly what you're about to say, and I hate that you're going to say it.
Like you're going to tell that story again.
Yeah. I had to tell Steve. Steve always gets asked how he got, how Regan found him to open for Regan. And so he tells the story, and every time he goes, I'm so sorry, but I have to tell it again. I'm like, I'm going away. I think I've heard that story about 15 times.
I think he told it on the podcast.
Oh, my God. It was at a comedy festival. That's it.
He watched a set.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I could have made that up, though.
It's, yes, it is really, but he draws it out. So now I know I just leave. I just go and I walk away. And I know that the other people want to hear, and he loves telling the story. I'm happy for him. And then I just walk away. But he knows, he's like, I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to leave.
Okay. I feel like, so you go on the road a lot. I just started like going on the road more consistently in the last year. And it's interesting because going on the road is such a thing. Like when you go on the road, there's a community of people, which is like the people that work at the club, and like it just becomes like almost like a summer camp weekend with them. You're like, I got to know these. It's like a whole thing. They tell you about all the other comics that came through there, their opinions on them, and it's like way more draining than I anticipated. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to the city for a night and doing a spot and coming home. It's like you're meeting so many people, and it's it's awesome, but it's such a different energy suck than I expected.
Yes. It's funny because I used to be known as like a partier. And so I would go on the road, but I like my alone time, and so I would not party at the end. People were like, what the hell is going on with her? And I was just like, I just like to be alone in my my hotel room and watch bad TV.
Yeah, like you just did 2-hour-long sets.
Yes.
You don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah. And like I love going back to certain clubs because I love the people, like the Comedy Attic.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful club. I have lots of friends in the city. But I know that is going to be a weekend where I'm not going to have a lot of alone time, and that's fine. But I mentally prepare for it and I look forward to it. But I know that I'm going to be just as exhausted by the end of it. But it's nice now that I'm not drinking. And who knows if it's forever, but right now I'm not drinking. Now I can have the out of being like, oh, well, I don't drink, but you guys have fun.
Do you smoke weed?
No.
How long have you not drank?
It's been 3 months. And I did it because I did that Whole30 diet. And I lost 15 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I ended up losing another 5. So 20 altogether. And it was just from eating right. And I found out I can't have gluten and dairy. And then I didn't have alcohol. And then when I was talking to my therapist about it, I realized that a month was the longest I'd been sober without weed or alcohol since I was 18. And I was like, that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe we should see who I am without these things. And so it's been 3 months now, and it's going great. I feel great. I sleep. I'm dreaming again. Who knew that was going to happen?
That's fun.
Yeah. I'm having weird dreams, girl. Ooh, they're strange. Like today I had a dream that I was at some party, like some Christmas party, and then I couldn't get to New York Comedy Club, but I couldn't get a hold of whoever was in charge at New York Comedy Club, and I was like, I can't come. Tell someone. They're like, I don't know who's managing. And I know, it was a stress dream about spots. Yeah. And I was like, this is what I'm missing out on? Okay. Maybe I should drink.
Some drinks.
Yeah. This isn't worth it. But yeah. And so the not drinking, the eating right, has helped so much that I'm like, let's see how long I can, not how long I can do it, but let's see. My therapist thinks if I am less anxious, I will drink less.
Yeah.
And because I suffer from all or nothing thinking. I am either the best in the world or the worst that's ever existed.
See, can you talk more about that?
Yeah, for sure. Like it seeps into social and professional. Like with comedy, if one joke goes bad, the whole set sucked and I hate myself. If I kill, then I killed, but women, we don't say we killed. We say we had fun. They were fun. They were a fun crowd. But it also was in my drinking. Like if I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink everything and as much and all the time. Or I'm going to be completely sober and I'm not having a single thing. Or diet wise, it would be, I'm going to eat everything in front of me, all the sugar, cream, and everything. Or I'm going to have just a salad and that's it, And it's been like, I realize now it's been like that my whole life. I've always been just yo-yoing back and forth between these mindsets. And she was like, yeah, this is what's going on. It's like it's all or nothing. And when she did the diagram of what it was, I was like, oh my God, this is me. This is who I am. Like I'm either completely in love or I hate the person.
Same.
It's why you're like, are you identifying with this?
I am identifying. Yes.
Yeah. I'm either the skinniest girl who ever lived or I'm a fat piece of shit. And there's no in between. And so she's trying to get it where I'm in between or happy all the time. Just.
Are there tools that you've used that have helped you?
Yeah, we're working on them now. It's footsies. Yeah, there's like putting your thoughts on trial. So when you're like, I'm a piece of shit, you can actually be like, am I a piece of shit? You think about, well, I think I said it before. Oh my God, I'm using all this therapy talk.
No, I love it. Honestly, I'm looking for a new therapist, just using my podcast in the meantime for advice.
Okay, good. But yeah, it's like putting your thoughts on trial. That's helpful. What was the other one? Rewording your negative thoughts. So when I'm like, oh, my neck hurts, I probably have cancer. It's like there's a way to be like, my neck hurts, I probably slept on it funny. Maybe I'll take some ibuprofen and I'll be fine. So not catastrophizing.
I catastrophize. That's a big problem that I have.
Yeah.
Is like, I feel like my life would be so much better if I didn't catastrophize, but there's just this feeling of like a dark spiral when one thing goes wrong. And then like time will make me come out and be like, oh, everything was okay. I didn't realize that. But it's definitely like this weird, like overwhelming response that when one thing goes wrong, everything's going wrong. Yeah.
Well, then put your thoughts on trial. Why are things going wrong? What are your circumstances?
Yeah.
That helps me is when I'm like, oh, I really want to eat all this sugar. I'm eating all this sugar. I'm a piece of shit. Why am I eating? I'm going to be fat. And then I look and I'm like, wait a minute. It's this time of the month. I always want sugar when I'm PMSing. And I've kept track of everything. So I know that this is not going to be who I am forever. I'm going to have some candy now because it will make me feel better. But tomorrow I will not want candy because evidence shows that it only lasts for 2 days.
Yes.
And so I'm able to climb out of it and then move on with my life. Mostly it's just not dwelling on the negative thoughts so much. That's what I need to get out of. And I still struggle with it, but it's gotten a lot better because I'll think about it and then that'll be my day.
Right. I like that advice.
Yeah. Get out of that hole. Get out of that dark spiral, Natalie.
I know. I honestly have been I've been feeling pretty happy. I went off a medication I was on, and I was like, oh my God, I feel amazing. Like I've been feeling really happy, but I also noticed that like if one thing goes wrong, I'm just like, it just feels like a dark cloud over my head, and I can't see anything else.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah,
but there are tools out there.
I love the tool.
There's a tool.
I like to okay, so I like tarot cards.
Oh, great.
And I love this deck. This is my favorite one.
Okay.
So I like to pull a tarot card at the end of every episode.
Sure. Ooh, this is fun.
Yeah. I feel so okay.
Do you do full readings?
I don't. I honestly so every day I pull a card and I just like read it and I'm like, huh, cool. Okay. That's the energy of the day.
Okay.
And I collect tarot decks, like I have a lot of them. But it's funny. I was thinking about it today. I haven't taken that like next step. Like on my podcast, for example, I read from the book after I pull the card. In my head, I'm like, Natalie, why haven't you just like edited out you reading from the book, gone back into the podcast and been like, so this is what that means. Do you know what I mean? Or at the very least, like learned it to the extent that I'm not reading from the book. I feel like I need to like take my tarot to the next.
You could, or you could, if you're enjoying it, enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we can read from the book.
Yeah, we can read from the book. Why not?
But yeah, so okay, I used to pull on my podcast. I'd be like, all right, let's see if this encapsulates the energy of the episode. And then people were like, I want you to pull a card for me. I don't want a card for the episode. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Great.
I'm going to pull a card for you.
Yay.
Right.
Oh, this is exciting.
Sweet.
My mom bought tarot cards.
Really?
And it ruined our Christmas. So let's see how this goes.
Okay, good. Mother of Wands.
Okay, is that a good one?
This is good. This is usually a mother the mother cards. They usually refer to like a specific person, like mother, father, son, or daughter.
Okay.
Or
cool.
there are 4 of those in each deck.
I just brought up my mother. This is crazy.
I know. That was
Oh
funky.
my goodness.
Do you want to read it from the book? No. Unfortunately, the audio got messed up here. It was a very nice reading. We both pulled great cards. I pulled a card too. And it was very fun. You should go follow Caitlin Peluffo. And I don't know. I could put the crazy version on my Patreon of the scratchy voices, but I don't think anyone could listen to that. So, all right. We'll see you next week. Bye.